Hey there, welcome to the Marketing Stream. I'm Vicki O'Neill, your host. I am the Plateau to Grow marketer, and I help entrepreneurs and small business owners who have plateaued in their business take that next step, develop actions that are going to help move them in the direction to growing their business. If you are here live, thank you so much for joining me live. Let's use the chat to ask questions and engage with each other. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. Leave comments, questions, whatever you want to in the comments below. I appreciate you being here. And if you are new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell notification so you know when I go live, and also when I upload new videos every Thursday. Thank you again for being here. I appreciate it. Hey, Diana, thank you so much. Thank you so much for being here. I'm talking too fast. Yay, I am live. Woo! Yes, it's working. Awesome. Hey, Andrew's here too with Consult a Blind Guy. Good afternoon, good sir. I appreciate you guys being here. Great. Awesome. Oh, hey, from Spain. Thank you so much for joining. I'm assuming it's 5 or 6 o'clock p.m. your time, if I'm thinking correct. I know Europe and in that area, they're 5 or 6 hours ahead of where we are on the East Coast. So it looks like it's more evening time frame for you. So thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you guys. Awesome. What I am going to do is for the next 8 weeks, this is going to be like an 8-week series. And I'm going to talk about different topics that are going to help you, whether you're an individual, an entrepreneur, you're a small business owner, you're working for somebody else, whatever that is, and you've got your own set of goals that you're trying to achieve. Of course, they are related to marketing, sales, and the customer journey. But I'm going to go through different topics that are going to help you along the way and also help you end 2020 on a great note, hopefully, right? We know it's been a crazy year. And then help get you on the right foot to start 2021 off in the right way. So 6 p.m., you're right. Awesome. So you're 6 hours ahead in Spain. Cool. Thank you so much. I love having people here from different time frames. That is so cool. It's great how you can have technology like this bring people together around the world, right? Who would have thought 20 years ago that this would have been the case? So the reason why I'm doing 8 weeks is we actually only have 8 weeks left in 2020. So if we look at each of the Wednesdays between now and the end of the year, that 8th Wednesday is December 30th. So yes, we are that close to being completely done for the year. All right, so real quick before I get into today's topic, which is associating marketing to your business goals and just doing like an overall audit of your business, I will run through the 8 topics. They might change a little bit from week to week, but this is the general idea of what the topics are that I'm going to be talking about. So if you like today's topic, you watched any of my videos, if you're interested in any of these topics and you're new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell notification so you know when they are available. Okay, but these are the ones I'm going to be talking about during the Wednesday live show. So week 1, which is today, business goals, marketing strategies, how to align those two, and then also just doing audits. And I'm going to keep this very high level. So don't think that this is going to be like a 60-minute dive into everything that you need for all of these. It's more or less general conversation, asking some questions, things to help you just start asking yourself and your business to help prepare you for year end and also 2021. So the second one is, so week 2 is going to be innovation. So looking at it from your business, your industry, and whether you're looking to stabilize your business, because we all know it's been crazy this year. Stability is key before we can grow. And I'm completely aware of the fact that there are still a lot of businesses struggling out there because of COVID and the pandemic and the impact it's had on not being able to go out and do normal things, either because we've been in lockdown or because we've been, businesses have closed and they were closed for a long time. And if you guys watched my live videos from when we were in Hawaii, you'll know that that was even a completely different situation there, even though they're part of the US. It was almost like being in a completely different country with the way that they were doing their lockdowns and how they were, how long they did it for, actually. So it was quite interesting. But week 2, I'll go into innovation, stability, and growth, regardless of where your business is. Again, things to just think about, start, evaluating your business. Where do you want to go? The third week is going to be marketing and customer journey strategies. Week number 4 is going to be customer journey and content strategies, because of course, content is everything. How else are you going to communicate unless it's over the phone? We can't talk to everybody over the phone, right? So content is very key to that. Week number 5 is researching new trends, new technologies. Obviously, it's going to vary from business to business, industry to industry, but just some tools to help you do that in different ways to look at how you can identify and keep your finger on the pulse with what's going on in your industry. Week number 6 is sales tips, which I know I don't cover a whole lot of sales type stuff here, but it's important to incorporate that into what you're doing overall. Because obviously, if you can't generate sales, you don't have business, right? And interestingly enough, my topic this week for my video that I upload and will be available tomorrow is on MQLs and SQLs. So your lead process and how to qualify a lead as marketing ready or a lead as sales ready. So if that's something that you're interested in, I go a little bit deeper into that and actually show visual examples on the video. It was also the same topic that I discussed this week on my podcast, Connect the Dots. So if you prefer listening instead of watching, you can go to connectthedots.com/98 for 98, and you will have access to that podcast episode. And then week number 7 is going to be business acceleration. So just some things to keep in mind on how you can automate things in your business in order to accelerate it faster, even if you're a one-person business. If you've seen the demos that I've done, whether it was with ConvertKit or I didn't do it on Trello, but I used Trello as part of my demo in doing the HubSpot demo. And just ways that you can automate things in your business allows you to have time to do other things. So that's really important to do. And then week number 8 is going to be creating raving fans. So we all like those, right? Because if we can create raving fans, then they are doing some of the marketing for us, or at least they're helping us market our brand because they've had such a great experience with your brand, right? So, okay, we are going to go 8 weeks. Yes, 8 weeks away, Diana. Can you believe it? Christmas shopping for sure. New tech geek here. Yes, Diana is your tech geek. She knows the ins and outs. And if you want any type of how-to videos, she's your person you need to go see. Her videos are amazing. And if there's something new that you're wanting to learn, especially if it's something that you can use for an online course, because she's an online course coach, then she's great at walking you through step-by-step on how to be successful in that particular application. Also doing some side-by-side comparisons, which is really helpful too if you're not sure if you want to go with Thinkific or Teachable, that type of stuff. So if you're interested in that, definitely go check out her channel. Again, it's Diana Wilson. If you saw me bring up her name, she's up there. So those are the 8 topics that I will be talking about, and that will take us through the end of the year. Now, I haven't gotten as organized with my weekly videos, the ones that I upload on Thursdays. So that will be my next task because I want to be that organized and prepare ahead of time. So I have some videos in the docket and I can focus on some other things because I am working on an online course, but the first version is going to be like a smaller version. And then there's going to be one that's going to be a bigger piece of it, an extension of it. But I've been wanting to do one of these for a long time. I've had multiple conversations with Diana. She's been extremely helpful with giving me some things to think about and just different tools to consider and just the how-to behind the scenes. So she's got a lot of great resources for that as well. If you're wanting to do an online course, she's got all that stuff on her YouTube channel and then also the link to her website. So consider that and check that out. Okay, so this week is, and I apologize, I'm out of breath. I feel like I've been going a million miles an hour today, and it probably doesn't help that I've had a ton of coffee and no water. I'm drinking hot apple cider with caramel. So it's that's not helping because now it's just giving me a sugar buzz. But anyway, all right, let me make sure I'm not hitting or missing any. Thanks for the shout out. Oh, you're welcome. Awesome. Yeah, anybody who's doing a great job and is here, I am more than happy to shout them out because, you know, that's what we're here for, right? We try and help each other out and help elevate other people. And I know Andrew's doing a phenomenal job with his live videos as well. And if you're visually impaired, if you're blind, if you're challenged with any type of sight problem, then Andrew at Consult the Blind Guy is your person to connect with. He's overly generous with information that he shares, his experiences, his guests on his show. So you want to go and check out his YouTube channel as well, and definitely connect with them on the channels that they prefer to engage with beyond YouTube. Okay. All right. So business goals and audits. So I know I've talked about like associating marketing strategies to business goals before. I actually went back. So I'm like, did I do a live video on that, or was it an upload? I know the uploads, I tend to get a little bit more detailed because I know those videos get watched more than the live videos. So I like to provide some insight and some context and tools in the live videos, because you guys are gracing me with your presence live instead of just, whenever you happen to have time, which I'm greatly appreciative of. But with the video uploads, then I have the opportunity to kind of go back and forth and just make sure that the pieces connect and make sense. I'm connecting the dots with the tools and the message. That's the name of my podcast. That's part of the reason. But this is actually looking at, so I know I've talked about that before, but then also doing audits. So we're now at the end of the year and end of the fiscal year. I know not everybody ends their year December 31st, but if you are ending your fiscal year December 31st, it's the end of a quarter. So even if you're doing it then, it's important to understand and just kind of do like a overhaul of your business instead of just continuing to move forward, because there could be things that are not working that you can easily fix that create new opportunities, either for time in your schedule or new revenue or new customers or, whatever. It could be doing something personally. But without investing time to actually do an audit of your business, then you could just be missing out on some opportunities in one respect or another. So when you do an audit for your business, then there's obviously different ways that you can do that. So you can do a deep dive and do, a marketing audit, a content audit, a sales audit. You can go in and do your CRM audit to, just better understand what's missing. Have a lot of leads come in, but they haven't been touched, or those opportunities that fell through the cracks. So you can look at different things, even accounting or HR, if you have different departments. If you're a one-person company like myself, I know Diana is, I know Andrew is, J. Del Coralie, I'm sorry. I know I'm not saying your name. I know that's your username, so I'm not sure what your first name is. If you're still here, if you want to let me know what your first name is, I would love to know that, because then I can call you by your first name. Even if you're a single person company, there are still opportunities to evaluate your business in different areas so that you can better understand where the opportunities are too. So as one person, we're doing everything, right? So maybe pick one thing this week or one thing this month and invest 2 to 3 hours just doing a deep dive on your content. And I went through this in one of my videos where I showed, I think it was in my HubSpot demo, where I went through the customer journey and identified the different steps, but then I was relating it back to the HubSpot CRM and just how those two correlate and how you can change the different stages, et cetera. Well, in doing that, I extended that a little bit in the video that I'm releasing tomorrow, not from a HubSpot perspective, but from an MQL, marketing qualified lead, and an SQL, sales qualified lead perspective. And as part of that, I included examples of different content that can be in those different categories. So looking at that, of course, mine's just an example of something to think about. But when you look at that and you want to do a content dive or a customer journey content dive, then you can do an overall audit of what content you have. Are you just posting text, I should say, on Twitter and Facebook? Like you don't have any images, you don't have any messaging, you're just posting to be posting? Or do you have a strategy and you have content pieces where you're using them as images, or you're using, trackable links that take someone to a how-to guide of some sort that they can download from your website. So looking at the type of content that you have available currently is going to help you identify where you might have opportunities to create new content. We have so much content, it can also help you identify what you're not using or what's not getting viewed or downloaded or used, and get rid of it. So I'm a huge fan of simplifying, and I love throwing stuff out. You'll never come to my house or anywhere and say, Vicky's a pack rat, because Vicky likes to get rid of stuff. So I've moved twice in the last like 3 years. And each time I just loved it. I was like throwing stuff away. I'm like, this feels great. I knew it was stuff I hadn't used in forever, so I keep it, right? They weren't high school memories or childhood memories, but they were just, it was just stuff that you accumulate and you're like, I'll get to that later. Same is true in your business, is that if you've got tools that you're not using, but maybe you're paying for, that might be a great opportunity to say, you know what, this money, even if it's $5 a month, could be used someplace else. Maybe you want to go from, a free StreamYard program to a paid StreamYard program. And in doing so, how much money do you need? I think this program's $20 a month. It's been a while since I've looked at it. But, that's something that can add up. So looking at not only the cost, but the content and the gaps that might be occurring in your business are extremely helpful to you. And of course, this week's topic rolls into next week's topic. And if you were here and you heard all the topics for each of the 8 weeks, the week number 7 topic was business acceleration. So if you are caught up in chaos right now and you're not creating clarity and you're not creating time so that you can be more efficient and allow yourself more opportunities to do things you love, even working on your business. If you hate marketing your business, but you're spending all your time online, then there's a disconnect there, right? It's time to evaluate, do an audit. What are you doing? What's working? What can you not do? Because I'm sure in that situation, if you hate marketing your business, you're more than happy to get rid of some of those things, right? So if, podcasts and videos are working the best for you, but you're spending a ton of time on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and Instagram, you know what? Step away from the social media, focus on podcasts and your videos. Right? It just makes sense. Then you become a happier person too. And now you have all that time and less worry associated with other things that you can be doing to actually work towards accelerating your business, right? So if it helps, create a form for each area. So if you're doing content, and again, this goes back to the video I did where, I've got each of the buckets for the customer journey, each of the 6 steps. So it's define your persona, know, like, trust, buy, and retain. I always include retention in that because if you're going to do all these other steps, of course you want to keep your customers. You want to extend that lifetime value, correct? And I'm sure they do too. I'm sure customers hate researching and trying to find a new solution if what they had was working, but they just weren't getting the service that they wanted, right? So create a spreadsheet of some sort, example, content, look at each of the steps, know, like, and trust. Knowing what each of those relate to, what content do you have that can go into each of those 3 buckets? How do you know those go in each of those buckets? So you need to define what those are for you and your business, and then look at the content. Is it fulfilling that particular criteria? So if you've got you've got a blog on your website and that's fulfilling the know, so they're getting to know you by reading your content, then you'll want to make sure that that's in the know bucket. But it's not going to be most likely in the buy bucket, right? Because they're not going to read a blog post and then buy from you, most likely. So knowing those differences and what makes the most sense for you, then that's going to be important too. Part of the content audit, for example, needs to include your call to action. As part of the customer journey, part of that is knowing, how am I going to help my ideal customer get from point A to point B, or get from know to like, and like to trust, and trust to buy, right? So you're not going to have the same calls to action for each of those steps, and knowing the content and the action or the activity that you want to help them get to that next point in their process is going to help you identify those areas in your content where there might be an opportunity for improvement. So even if you have a blog, if you're not doing the right call to action for that piece of content and why they might be reading that content, if you're not giving them the right or the most relevant call to action to get to that next step, then it could be a missed opportunity. I know I did that early in my, and I haven't written a blog post in about a month. I was religious about it every single week. And then I don't remember what happened. I think I just got focused on too many other things that I wasn't writing my blog posts anymore. But I was writing them every week. And early on in my blogging career, if you go back to, I don't know how many years, I actually have a blog. I think it might be redirected now. It was called the Eclectic Blog. I just renewed the domain. I didn't go to look and see if it's still there. I think it is. If you go there, you can look at my content, and the CTA is going to be a little bit different than what you would see today, right? Because that was like 10 years ago. So, it's evolved over time, and that's something with what you're doing too in your business is looking at the evolution, but then also looking at the most relevant call to action that you need for that particular piece of your company or your content. Same thing can be true in your sales. So I mentioned this earlier, is looking at your CRM and just looking at the leads, what stages they're in, how quickly are you moving a lead from each stage to the next? Could that be improved? What's keeping you back? What's keeping you from actually moving that lead faster? Again, if we're one person business, then we've only got so much time in a day, right? So we can only do so much. And that's why I'm saying to make a list of all the things that you need to do an audit with, and then prioritize them. So if you've got your leads nailed down, and when those leads come in, if they're relevant, they're a good fit, ready to buy, and those that aren't, then that's not an area that you need to focus on first. But if you're looking at your cash flow and you're not managing that at all, or not well, or not consistently, then that would be an area of your business I would recommend making your first priority. Because the last thing that you want to have happen is all of a sudden to be out of money, thinking that you're skyrocketing in the, positive direction. And all of a sudden, all those little things that you were spending along the way every single month has eaten up your budget, and you don't have money. And when you wanted to accelerate your business, you can't, because it's not there. And that's one of the biggest reasons why small businesses fail, like within the first 5 years especially, is because they don't manage their cash flow. They don't have someone, or they themselves aren't managing the revenue that's coming in and the expenses that are going out. So you want to make sure that you're on top of that. So I will say confidently, if you don't know where to start and that's not something that you're managing, make that your first priority, because that's the first audit that you need to do. Okay. So, and the same is true with your marketing. In the video that I did before, and I'll link it in the comments after this publishes. I know it takes a couple hours to actually publish in my channel, or on my channel. I don't know if that even sounded right. I'll link it in the description so that it's accessible, or even in the as an info card. But I know that I mentioned tying those marketing strategies back to your business goals, and having your business goals, if you don't have those outlined already. And you can start this in 2021. If you've already got the rest of your year, the next 8 weeks, right? Because that's all that's left. If you've already got that planned out and you just don't have time, just carve out 15, 20 minutes here and there, just so that you can have it in place when you start 2021 off on the first foot. So that would be making sure that you've got long-term goals and short-term goals established. So long-term goals are going to be those goals for your business that are lofty and things that you can't achieve now. Something like, and it could be like either a 5-year, even a 10-year goal, where you're like, I want to be a multi-7-figure business by 2030 or 2025, whatever that time frame is. So those are going to be your long-range goals, right? So you want to establish those first and make sure that they're realistic, they're timely, they're actionable, they're SMART goals. And then establish your short-term goals, which are going to be things that you're going to establish next year, and then break it down even further, either by quarter or by month. in doing that, of course, those short-term goals are going to be driven by your big-term goals, right? So if you want to get to a 7-figure business by 2025, just a one-time 7-figure business by 2025, then you need to break down into smaller goals that are obtainable and realistic to understand what you actually need to do to achieve that 7-figure business, right? So are you selling a service? Are you selling a product? How many are you selling? If you're selling services, how many different packages? What's your pricing on your package? How many of those packages do you have to sell every month, starting in January? And then how will that grow throughout the year in order to be on track to achieve that 7-figure business? Then you back into it even more so and say, okay, if I want to hit, $120,000 a month, then how am I actually going to achieve that? Am I going to do it through just posting on Twitter? Or am I going to do it by hosting webinars and attending events and speaking? And again, events being online until we can actually attend in person. But looking at opportunities to be a panel expert at an online event, or partner with somebody to do some type of online workshop. So look at different ways that you can expand your brand awareness that are going to help others see the opportunities that you're providing to them. They're going to help solve whatever pain point that they're having. And of course, those opportunities you need to look at that are relevant for your business and the services that you provide, right? Yeah. So you're not going to attend a plumber's event if you are a pet photographer. If Monique was here, she would understand that. I don't think she's here. I haven't seen her yet. So, but same thing with Diana with her online course creation. She's not going to want to attend, a sales techniques seminar because they're not talking about the need to create a course. Now, if that was something that they said, hey, we're going to go through how to create a course if you're interested in selling technique course, and that might be a little bit too specific, but a sales course, you can break that down into all kinds of different modules. And they wanted people who are experts in their area to come in and talk about it, then that'd be a perfect opportunity for Diana to go and say, hey, here's the different tools and here's how I help people who want to sell their products. And all of that is, you can cross that over into other industries as well. So, and I know, Diana, I was speaking for you in that spot. So I hope you don't mind. I'm going to go back to the comments here real quick. I need to hook up with Andrew. Yes. Yeah, Diana, that is a great opportunity for you. I know that you've been having some issues with your vision. Thank you for saying what an MQL and SQL is. I did not know those abbreviations. Yeah, so MQL, again, is a marketing qualified lead, and an SQL is a sales qualified lead. And I go into more details as to where those are in the customer journey and what they mean. And then also how you can identify where, if you're a bigger company, if you're more than just a one person, even if you're one person, it still works because, as I mentioned in the video, if it's a marketing qualified lead, then you need to understand what that is. So, if you're creating content that's actually going to get them to that point. You're not going to have, I shouldn't say you're not ever going to have, unless you're making 100% cold calls and you're connecting with people that way so that when you get off the call, if they are a good fit for your business and the timing's right for them, then they're likely going to start off as a marketing qualified lead, not as a sales qualified lead. So I go into the details on that as well. And with any of these topics, we could probably all in our areas of expertise go down a lot of different paths. So I try to give as much information as I can without going too detailed and without wasting people's time. Because I tend to do that sometimes. Let's see here. So yeah, that's what that is. Go back here. Super helpful. Good. I need to get a better strategy for my content with the know, like, trust in mind. Yeah, you'll definitely want to see that. Watch that video tomorrow, Diana. I know that you watch most of my videos, which I'm extremely thankful for. But that one will be really helpful for you too, because I do break it down into different, there's 3 different categories that show different types of content. Not where, because that's obviously going to be wherever your ideal customers are spending time. So if it's on LinkedIn, then LinkedIn is going to be your platform. and then just looking at the opportunities for content and what you need to post there too. And of course, you and I can always have conversations about that too, like we do anyway. How to sell your online course. There you go. How to sell your online course. Perfect. MQL versus SQL would be a great video. Yeah, that's what that one is tomorrow. Hey, but it's and. I talk about the importance of and. I know a lot of people talk about, and I think it's more natural just for people to say MQL versus SQL. But in reality, just as like, for me coming from a marketing and sales perspective, it's marketing and sales, because those two need to be in cahoots with each other, and even defining what that criteria is and what that handoff process is, so that it's, streamlined and super behind the scenes for all of the leads and prospects, because no one wants to know that they're being handed off from marketing to sales, right? Nobody does. It needs to be seamless. So just talking about that too. Good. I'm glad you guys are talking about that. Yeah, you guys definitely need to have a conversation. I'm working on my digital products as I listen. Awesome. Andrew, I know you've got a lot going on in your business right now. So that is really good. I know you are escalating. I know you just made your business official. I think it's now official with an LLC. And you just have a lot of different moving parts. So I'm super excited for you, Andrew, and, taking your business and just making it move forward, because you're serving in an area that I'm not familiar with. So to me, it seems new. So I'm not sure if there are a lot of other people who are serving the same audience that you are, or how yours is unique in the types of services that you're providing. Actually, that'd be really interesting for me to know, Andrew, if you don't mind putting it here, or if you want to shoot me a message on Slack or an email or whatever, because I would like to support you. And when you're here, just like with how I did with Diana, is to just share with people, your area of expertise and how they might work with you, and have a little bit more detail on that would be helpful, so that I can make sure I'm conveying that message appropriately for you. Not official yet. Working on launching at the beginning of the new year. I was recommended to do. That's right, you did. I remember you mentioning that, beginning of the year, and as a nonprofit. Yeah, there's nonprofit would probably be a really good direction for you. So that's good. I know that you had somebody in from Pat Flynn's team too that was helping advise you on that process. So that's really good. It's a good thing about these types of groups and networking with people on live videos, or just attending people's events, is that you get to connect with people and collect resources that you can help them and they can help you, and becomes a great partnership or relationship in the future, which is what this has come with me and Andrew and me and Diana and Monique when she's here, and just anybody else who joins live, or anybody who watches the videos. So it's awesome. I love it. But do you guys have any questions in regards to the audits, or tying things back to long-term goals versus short-term goals, and kind of how to make that work? It really comes down to creating a document, and just I would recommend a spreadsheet, or whatever works best for you, whichever platform or application works best for you. But in Excel, you can keep track of dates, and you can add different columns that okay, well, my 5-year goal is to be a 7-figure business. So now you can start creating different columns that have different dates that you can refer to and make sure that you're staying on track. And of course, then all your shorter term goals, and you can even use that spreadsheet for even your daily or your weekly goals. I would recommend breaking that out into different tabs, but then you would have everything in one place. Just make sure you make a backup, because you never know what can happen with your documents, right? Anything can get corrupted any particular time, and you don't want to lose that type of information, especially if you've been building it over time, right? So yeah, let me know if you guys have any questions. It's been about 30 minutes. I'd wanted to keep these about 15 to 20. But I know this one was a little bit longer, because I was talking about up front about, the 8 weeks and all that. And I talked about MQ on SQ a little bit. So hopefully that was helpful. Let me know if it was. Like the video, that tells me it was helpful. If you think it might be helpful to someone else, share the video. That's always very helpful too. And then, like I said, if you are new here, don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell notification. All right, let me check real quick all of the comments and make sure you're so Excel. I am so Trello. Yeah, I know, we both are. I really am Excel. And you're the guru on Trello, Diana. I know you are. Team Google Docs. We're all different, right? Although we could use the Excel on Google Docs, right? Yes, I think it has the same capabilities there too. Just easier to share, right? All right. That's all I have for you guys today. Thank you so much for joining me live. I appreciate you. If you're watching the replay, thank you so much for watching the replay. Let me know what questions you have in the comments or if there's anything I can do to help you. Also, I invite you to a 1-hour conversation with me where we can go through anything that you've got going on with your business, even if it's talking through the different business goals and mapping those out. You can go to vickyoneil.com//apply, and that will ask additional questions beyond just your name and email. And the reason being is because I want to do some research ahead of time on how I can make that 60 minutes the most productive for you. The goal of that call is to give you information and actionable steps that you can take at the end of that 60 minutes, completely free. The 60-minute call is free. So are the steps, the whole thing's free. And I want you to have that so that whatever the goal was that you wanted to accomplish during this conversation that you have, and you can take that next step in your business to move it forward. Or even if you're trying to, just kind of create some clarity in the chaos, we can do that too. So again, I invite you to fill out that form, apply. It's at vickyoneil.com/apply. Thank you so much for being here. And until next time, make today great.